and welcome back to Cooking with Kaitlyn. Today we have a special guest in the kitchen with us. We've got Michael Hoffman from our news side of the building, and then Michael Gibson's also going to be joining us for today's segment. So, Michael Hoffman, you're going to be making what for us today?
Vodka sauce. It's one of my favorite pasta sauces there is. Definitely my favorite, actually. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of olive oil, a shallot, some garlic, a 1/2 cup of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of vodka, some heavy cream, and some crushed red pepper, and then salt and pepper to taste. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna get shallots. Now shallots are like onions and garlic, but they're kind of like if you were to take the two of them and meld them together. Don't worry, you're still using garlic, but the shallots have less of a harsh flavor as you would with a regular onion. Now what you're gonna wanna do is set your pan to a medium heat, and you're gonna wanna hit it with some olive oil after the pan heats up.
Really?
That's important. Because if you put cold oil in a hot pan, it reduces the temperature of the pan itself.
Wow.
So if you have overheated your pan a little bit, you can actually cool it down a little bit with oil. But
how great is that?
We're going to take this oil, and you're not going to want to use too much oil. Probably just about, just enough to coat the pan like that. So a nice trick to test your oil to make sure it's hot enough is you take a little bit of just one little piece of your shallot and drop it in. If you see it start to bubble, then that means that it's ready to go. So, and for the most part, whenever you're cooking anything from onions to steaks, when you put it in, you want to hear that sound.
Oh, that glorious sound.
The glorious sound. It's like a symphony of everything that you're cooking saying you're doing the right thing.
Wow.
You want to put your shallots in and put them in for about 45 seconds to a minute just to open up those scents and those flavors until they get a little bit translucent.
Now, you hail from New York.
I do.
And so there's a lot of Italian food in New York. So did you grow up making things like this?
Oh, yes. Back in college, they used to call me Pasta Mike because of how often I would make fresh pasta. I mean, I used to make it about once or twice a week, but now it's about maybe three times a month. I mean, and it's very simple to make the fresh dough, sit it in the fridge, take it out, use it whenever you need it. I mean, it'll last a couple days, so it's very easy. So now we're going to add a little bit of garlic, and believe it or not, growing up, my father was sort of allergic to garlic, which is probably one of the most sad things I've ever heard in my entire life.
No, he's allergic to garlic?
Not in the way that you would break out in hives, but it was more along the lines of kind of like how someone who's lactose intolerant, if they were to drink milk, they just have a really bad indigestion.
Oh, your poor dad.
Yeah, no, and
wow.
Yeah, growing up, my mom would always make something one with garlic, one without, because she's a saint. And she wants to make sure everyone's happy.
That's a lot of work. Yes,
it's a lot of work.
Is a saint for that.
Absolutely. So now what we're going to do, now that you guys can see, it's very fragrant. Very fragrant.
So nice.
So you're going to take about a 1/2 cup of tomato paste. That's about 4 ounces for those who are like me and they need to Google everything to change. So about
or watch a
4.5
YouTube
ounces.
video.
Or watch a YouTube video. Absolutely. So I always think that these little caps are cool because they're made to just go like boop and just open it right up.
Easy.
So, and what you want to do with this is your tomato paste. You want to really caramelize these flavors. You don't want it to taste artificial at all.
Okay.
And yet again, like I said before, every time you add something to the pan, you want to hear that sound. So we're using the whole tube here. So you'll mix it up, and what you want to do, and trust me, it's going to look thick. That's totally fine, because we're going to add God's gift to man, which is pasta water. It's very important to add pasta water to your sauces because we will be adding cream at a point as well, but it adds more
starch.
More starch. It adds more liquid. It makes it taste a lot more creamy without having to add extra cream, which is just really great.
So the legend of saving the pasta water, that's a true thing?
That's a true thing. Well, and also what's really interesting about this sauce is the vodka element. Now, a lot of people will ask, why vodka? It doesn't add any flavor. I say, why not vodka? Because it doesn't add any flavor. What you want to do with the alcohol, and as Kaitlyn will definitely be able to tell you as well, is you're really doing what's called deglazing. And what that means is there are little bits, if you can see right here, there are little bits just kind of stuck to the bottom of the pan.
I see that.
What you want to do with that vodka is you're basically throwing in a liquid that will lift it off the bottom and take what's called the fond. The little, like when you sear a steak or anything, the little brown bits at the bottom of the pan.
Not the fonds like the show, but
Correct.
the fond.
F-O-N-D, the fond.
That would be cool if it was the fonds.
I think that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
But that's all the flavor, all of the good stuff there. So that's the difference between a good sauce and a great sauce. So Kaitlyn, if you wouldn't mind handing me that, the vodka.
Yes, I've got some measured out for you right here.
Awesome. So now what you want to do is add it here. And remember, when you're cooking with alcohol, it's going to burn off. And if you caught a whiff of that like I did, it tastes like college. Now, post 21, of course. So now we're going to take the cream, and we're going to just, Kaitlyn, would you do the honors?
I would love to.
One of my favorite things in the world. You just watch this happen, it's just beautiful. Now, watch as this sauce just starts to turn a beautiful crimson color. Now, we're gonna put these in here, and you're really gonna want to mix this around really nice.
Wow.
And I don't wanna use a metal spoon on a stainless steel pan, it'll scratch it. So, and what I'm doing now is I'm mixing, but I'm also going back and forth because you're adding air to the sauce, making it even, giving it even more levels of flavor. Now you'll add your salt.
Okay.
And you're going to want to start small. Start small. I always test it in my own hand first.
Have you guys ever done salt where you dump it in, but then it all comes out of the cap?
It
Yes.
does.
I've done that so many times.
Yes.
This is such a great way to do it.
It's a great way to ruin things.
That ever happens, don't touch it. Just grab a spoon and scoop it out.
Yes. Wonderful.
So now when we finish it, all we've got to do is just drape it on the top, and then it looks very professional, as if I know what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, basil, tomato, cream, I mean, what can be better?
Wow.
Perfect.
So that's going to be it. And then you're going to top it with as much Parmesan as your heart desires. But this is what you should be left with. A beautiful, vibrant sauce with the Parmesan and the basil really accenting, making those colors pop.
Wow.
Perfect.
Wow.
And this is the part where I say you serve and enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing this with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a dream come true.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. Now, Cooking with Kaitlyn is sponsored by Hy-Vee. You can find all of the ingredients for today's recipe at the grocery store. And if you want to pick up a recipe, then you can swing by the Hy-Vee location on Sunshine and Battlefield, and you're going to be able to pick one up in the store.